Yes, I have this role. I've been like leader of the acting department, and now in the last 1.5 years I've been trying to sort of get rid of the administrative thing, because it was really too much work for a few years and coming in the way of the artistic work I do, and also the pedagogical, because that's what I'm interested in, like working also with students. And but so I have sort of a position where I sort of responsible to have a sort of overview of the program in the acting program, but I'm not anymore administrating it, sort of like I did for a few years. So yeah, so we have this Creative Europe project that puts together all these partners, and we the frame is borrowing, like the excuse is this book and Castaño's work on trying to sort of organize and contextualize a lot of trends that become more and more common in writing in the last 30-40 years. But as we have been talking many times, we could problematize this very quickly and say that a lot of the things he talks about have been there forever, and you can read Shakespeare like this, you can read Molière like this, you can read most great writing also under the lenses of some of Castaño's ideas. But so in practice.
But it's a shift. You can say it's a shift from the very plot and character based understanding to opening up the toolbox to look at more language based strategies and hybrid forms and so on.
So we should read this or get it.
Yeah,
I would recommend it.
I would recommend. I think it's a good. It's good to have it also as a sort of reference for all of us, and also it's not that we have to.
It's not the Bible.
It's not the Bible, but it's interesting. It gives an excuse to create a common alphabet.
Yeah,
I would say that
gives us some language.
Gives some language, and I think in a way, what I think is the main interesting aspect also is this from moving from a sort of having a strong sort of voice of a writer, which is very strong through the whole project, to sort of opening to a sort of dialogue between different voices that are also not in a precise hierarchic structure between them.
I think you're out of battery, my dear.
Yes, so that's why we have a charger. Okay.
Just have to have a technical break, intermission.
Yeah, sure.
Is there a bookshop here? You know, we can buy.
I think we have to get it on Amazon.
Yeah, I think so.
I got it on book deposit. Book deposit.
Oh, you have it.
I have it. I started reading it, but I haven't.
I recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's for example, I'm on my as part also of this project is also to write some articles and stuff. From my perspective, I'm also very interested in the consequences that this way of thinking has.
And now it's running, Gianluca?
Yeah. This way of thinking has also for the way you read text and analyze text from a directing point of view. And so text analysis, and also from the point of view of acting, because I think it's sort of capture a mind shift. I mean the fact that we as theater makers have we see like we are not looking anymore for a sort of coherent understanding of the material, or for a sort of monologue based way of thinking. So also, for example, way of reading text, which often directors have the tendency to try to make the text sort of respond to certain categories or certain structures of reading it, or to make it become coherent, for example. This is often a problem in text analysis, which I'm sort of inspired by this book to write about new forms of text analysis that open and not sort of move theater makers towards always finding a way to make the text go up, sort of be consequent to itself, to its project, but to sort of open for paradoxes, open for contradictions within the text, open for clashes, for things that don't really make sense, for oppositions, for and this in the practice of theater directing this is a sort of a problem that hangs a bit, and that sometimes creates a friction when directors meet the writing of new writers, and also creates a conflict with actors, because they sort of become sort of in between the writing they work with and their intuitive also understanding of the work on stage, and how they can sort of also, sometimes actors have an intuitive way of living with paradoxes, but also what the director is asking from them. So for what concerns me, at least my main focus on with taking inspiration for this is more than writing, is sort of translate this way of thinking for directing and then acting also. So the way also we teach directors to how to read text and talk about text, and the way we teach actors how to work and approach text, you know.
I really appreciate you doing that, Gianluca. We're very happy.
You're welcome.
And there's another thing that I think is really great about it, is that he insists that that the play is structured in language, that it is letters, you know, and sentences, not real characters and events, and that he insists that re-theatralizes, that the theatrical aspect then can come up in the text,
Yes.
which in a way a more carnivalesque way of looking at it, which means that you don't have to have believable entities,
Yes.
and that they can change, like in Karma for Birds, you know, you can be one thing in one scene and then a totally another thing in another scene,
Yes.
which opens the toolbox and makes it much more fun to be a playwright, I think. And much more interesting for the audience too.
Yes, and it connects to a lot of things that I'm writing this book about, this interaction technique, and a lot of these things that I have developed for actors and directors are also about what is real, how do we read social contracts, how do we create an alphabet together when we are in the same room, you know, and how active the audience is in sort of playing the play, you know. What is the function of watching something also, how active that function is, and how can the audience both see the private person, the actor with his competence making choices, and eventually the element which the fictionalized element which is created, and how all of this is really has to do with communication, dialogue, and focus, how we can shift focus in the same action from what we want to look at, you know. So I can help you be, for example, this fictionalized character. If you ask me to look at you as this character, I can look at you and confirm you as this character because I say yes to this, and instead of you making me believe, but I can be part of the game, like kids do, like we do in with social roles, you know. If you come if a teacher goes in the teaching room and the students don't wanna accept him as the teacher and sort of problematize him as a teacher, don't look at him as a teacher, then often the teacher maybe will have to fight for his authority, and then something maybe sort of problematic can come out of that, you know. So we do this also with social roles. We can problematize. I can look at you and not accept you as a writer. That will create a problem for you being in this room. and this is the same with actors. I can look at you as Hamlet, and then you will feel looked at as a Hamlet, and then you won't have to prove anything. You just have to act, you know, do the actions, and then that sort of fiction becomes as real as anything else, even though we are both aware that it's a fiction. But this we do in life also. So these are things that I am sort of writing about also, and that I'm working with actors here, and yeah.
That's actually it's a big discussion in the Sami society now, and that thing about identity and self-identification and identification by others, and what kind of building blocks you need to put
Yes.
to be part of a society that hasn't got any boundaries. Interesting.
Yeah, and we do. You know, like for example, I feel also very Norwegian because I worked so hard. You know, I made a choice. You know, I had like a couple. I mean, I've been together with a Norwegian person since 2005, so I sort of got this getting to know Scandinavia without living there, traveling, getting to know the culture, and then at some point we became pregnant, and then we took the decision to let's be here, let's do it here. And then I slowly took the decision to, if I have to stay here and be a father here, and okay, I have to say yes to the language, I have to say yes to certain things. So I sort of made a job to build an identity, and now that I've done this job, I have also sort of, I have pride and a feeling around this Norwegian identity. So, you know, when you have different identities, for example, you often sometimes you meet people that don't want to, maybe they don't want to accept one of your identities, or they have a problem in accepting both, or they want to problematize one of those, and then you start to sort of beskytte, sort of protect, you know, some of those, you know, which is also a big theme in this globalized world we live in, because some people are reacting very violently with dealing with sort of multiple identities in a way that we are creating, like what it means to be European and for example, Italian or French or. So yes, so this is basically the frame, and there are these two groups, and just to talk sort of to finish this intro about the structure. The idea is to write this play now for the time that we have established until August, and then this play will be translated into English and published as part of this program, together with the other two plays developed by the other two groups. And
I think there's more than 2 plays on the go, aren't there?
I think there are mainly, there are other satellites, but I think the main projects are 3.
Yeah.
And then they will be published, and then there will be sort of series of readings about this. And I think we will involve in these readings some of the actors that are students here. And the idea is to arrive to the fall of 2018, where we're going to sort of have test this thing we've written, and I will direct it with the third-year students, the students that now are in the first class. So we will have a sort of, we will have the possibility to check how this works. And so far I know that the National Theatre in Milan is interested in also having this work with the students when we are finished with that. But of course the idea is also to make it, to use this as a trampoline to make it then come to other theatres. So both in Norway and also all the countries that are involved, and Germany, Italy, Iceland, who knows, you know. So to sort of try to also use the possibility that we have this now, financed 2.5 years with this, and the possibility to publish it in English, so to have the resources to translate it and stuff, to sort of workshop this to a level where it can be also interested to have a life also when the project will be finished in the spring of 2019. This is sort of the idea. The students we have, which I'm just gonna say a few things about them, because since we're gonna have to work with them, I mean the restrictions are 0, but just since we play with theater, but so that you have a bit of an idea of them, we have a class of 8 students, and there are 5 girls and 3 guys. The age is of course between 20 and 26, but and there's not much more I can say, but I will invite you to come and see some of the work they will do maybe next year, so that you sort of maybe see them a couple of times before we'll actually work with our play, basically. I think that would be interesting for you guys. Yes, I would say that our acting students are generally quite solid actors, and that we have a good productive, production-wise we can achieve a lot here at KHiO, also technically. I think we have quite good, we can say this, that we have quite generous frames in terms of production-wise. So I'm confident that we can, that even though it will be a school third year show, that it can reach quite good artistic level, and then can work also to promote eventually the text for other theaters outside. So this is a bit more about this sort of frame structure. If it's
any questions?
If I've been clear enough.
Any questions? Do you have any?
I read on the web page that you sent me. I read something about the text and it being like cubism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that we are piecing together. So we're all writing separately, and then and is that like an idea behind the?
Yeah.
It just kind of
I
don't know.
I would hopefully think that we don't have to have very strict rules, and that's what we can discuss these days. But I don't know.
I think we start from scratch and we decide together how and what we will do. But
so you don't have like a frame already?
We will make the frame.
Yeah.
We are the frame.
Excellent.
So Albert will just have to fit into the frame.
I'm not going to tell you like they did to me when I was writing film scripts, that on page 85 the guy is the girl.
It's kind of interesting actually.
It's a good
But
one.
we can, if we want to make these rules, we can make them.
Yeah,
we can also break them and remake them, because that's the process.
No, I think we will be forced to create some sort of common rules. I think that would be a good starting point, which doesn't mean we cannot.
But they're not delivered from Viterbo. The rules.
No, Viterbo. I mean the Viterbo means like the sort of the head of all this European project. No, they don't. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
We just have decided a frame of 120 pages. So like 20 pages for each of us. We're 5.
So we're each writing 20 pages?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it could be that somebody writes less and somebody writes a bit more. I mean, somebody might write needs more space because there's more dialogue. Somebody might write monologues that So but on the whole, that's what we're looking at.
As an average.
Yeah, well,
and
it's good to know,
and it's good to know, I think, because it's in my experience, when you start to write, you always need more than 20 pages. So I think it's a good also to sort of, I think, fight with the structure should be also a necessity. In my opinion, it's very creative when you really feel that I need 2 pages more, or whatever, and then there is it's interesting because you're forced to problematize it.
And they don't have to come like en bloc. It doesn't have to be. That's Kristín's part and that's Sigbjørn's part. That's Gianluca's part. How it's structured, we can also discuss that.
Yes.
And again, we make some rules, but then maybe we'll come to May and we think, oh no, we have to rearrange it. Yeah.
Yes, and also Tali will have a sort of dramaturg also function.
Yeah.
So you will coordinate.
Which does not mean that I would rearrange your work without your permission. This will be a collaboration and I will be listening.
But it's more a responsibility you take to
exactly.
sort of do the double work too.
Yeah.
I think I'm also just asking because I thought it was like an interesting approach. The not kind of making it all smooth, but rather just sort of.
But I think we should hold on to that idea.
Yeah.
That it's not a homogeneous work.
Yeah. I really like that.
And just a reflection, Gianluca, because there have been done some workshops already here where they put writers together to sort of write on or with or against in a hybrid kind of way. And all the readings I've seen of it has tried to put those into some kind of smooth. And it shows it's quite hard. And you need quite a lot of courage to be able to open the cracks and make things.
Yeah, I mean, my goal, and since my double role would be also the director here, my goal is that this play will be a play, and that you don't really think who wrote what and where and whatever. I mean, it's that it has a sort of that we think more holistic together, even though of course we will have to sit there and do some writing, and we have some language differences which I think are richness, and we will have to try also to sort of translate a bit for each other, to sort of, I will start writing in Italian, for example, and then translate it a bit so that you can read, and Alberto is there, will of course write in German, and I don't read German, and just a little bit, and not Icelandic, but yes, English and Norwegian or Swedish or Danish, yes. So we have, all of us have probably some languages we read, some languages we don't, and so we will have to use this as an opportunity also to be flexible also with the material.
The result will be it will result in a Norwegian speaking play at this with these.
Here it will result in a Norwegian speaking, and we will make an English published version of it, and of course, as I said, hopefully we grab as much interest as possible in maybe Iceland or Germany, or so maybe there will be a German translation or an Italian translation or an Icelandic translation or Sami. I don't think we should give us restrictions in our ambition.
And I also think there should be room for maybe letting some of the other languages spill through even in the Norwegian version.
Yes.
You can have the bits and pieces and feeling and floating moments of that as well, if that's what we feel like we want to do. And I agree with you that we should make, we will probably discuss this a lot this weekend, but I agree with you that it should be a play. It shouldn't just be, 4 parts.
4 shorts.
But I really would like us to cultivate the differences that we have instead of trying to, in our language and in our worldview and in our interests and fascinations, and see if they can come together in some kind of composition.
Yes. And I think I would suggest that today we actually talk a bit about, for example, later dialogues, and some of us maybe have more sort of try to work with language more on a poetic level, some of us on a maybe rhythm, some of us, it would be also interesting to hear you talking about how you think the sound of your language, for example, how you think,
and you also
where
have
do you
theme,
start?
right?
Yes, and I have a theme we will discuss now, but also like to hear you, for me would be very interesting to hear how the way you would describe your writing, or what is dialogue for you, what is space, for example, what is rhythm, what is poetry, what is what is metaphors, what is, it would be very interesting to see, to use these 2 days to get to know you also from your point of view, and I think this is my suggestion, that we can also do it, that we don't just go in the pragmatic, let's fantasize how the play should be, but also to hear,
it would be a real luxury. It's so rare to have that opportunity to share those thoughts and positions with other colleagues. That would be great.
How do I think I can write in a way, or how do I think I approach my writing, or what are my standard of perfections, I would say like this, or what are my when
And
I
also-
feel that something I wrote is achieving a quality. What is quality, basically?
Yeah, yeah. And then we have to talk about taste.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes.
What do we like? Why
Yeah.
do we like it?
Yes.
Yeah. What pleases us?
Yes.
What makes
It's almost
us?
a taboo
Yeah.
where I come from to talk about taste.
But I think I think it's really important.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
Does Albert sees only the wall, or is there something?
Well, he
different?
sees Gianluca and Sigbjørn mainly, but Kristín is sitting beside Sigbjørn, and I'm here across the table. So the voice that's talking
We
to
should
you
almost make this as more theatrical, and be all four of us here.
Yeah.
It would feel very weird talking
Yeah.
very close like this, but it would be very practical for him.
yeah, but I think
Or maybe we should put the camera there.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we
If
should
you
do.
stop in a second and